one of the things that is going to show up whenever we're dealing with limits is, especially when we're working with functions that have points that are undefined. Sometimes we're going to have a situation where we have, if x is less than 2, it's defined by this graph or this equation. And if x is greater than 2, it's defined by this equation or this graph. And that's fine if we're approaching or taking the limit as x approaches 2 from both directions. If it's both equal to in this case 1, then the limit as x approaches 2 is equal to 1. Now sometimes you'll see it written this way: limit as x approaches 2 positive. That means coming from the positive direction, what is it approaching? And in this case it's 1. And limit as x approaches 2 from the negative direction, in this case, is also 1. Now, if it's just written as a limit without a positive or negative, it's assuming that both the right side and the left, or right-handed and left-handed limits are the same. But sometimes you'll get an equation like this or a graph like this, where again, we've got where x is less than 2 defined by this graph and x greater than 2 defined by this graph. And in this case, if you're approaching from the negative direction, it is equal to 1, but approaching from the right direction, a right-handed limit is approaching negative 1. So in this case, there isn't, that makes it look like it's x, there isn't a limit as x approaches 2, but you do have a limit as x approaches 2 from the positive side, and that is negative 1. There's also a limit as x approaches 2 from the negative side, and that's a positive 1. So you have to take a look at what the question's asking you to look for, but there are situations where you get one side of the graph or the other side of the graph, they're completely different equations, completely different graphs, and we're trying to look at what's happening right around that place where we're evaluating x. And if they're not approaching it, if they're not approaching the same number, the same y from different directions, then we do not have a limit. But you will have a right-handed limit or a left-handed limit. So just understanding that concept will help you as you work with limits. And as always, please like and subscribe if these videos help you, and pass the information on to those who may use it. And thanks for watching.